Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you found the time for me and my ramblings. Thank you so much. Welcome to the 50th, yes, the 50th episode of Only Dead Fish Go With The Flow. As it is the 50th episode, I do get to bang on about my favourite topic. So, spoiler alert, this episode is going to be talking about rowing again, and it is going to be heavy on the rowing jargon. So, I guess grab your notebooks. This episode, I'm joined by Naomi Ashcroft, who is the chairwoman of Henley Women's Regatta. I told you it was going to be heavy on the jargon. Henley Women's Regatta is an absolute gem on the rowing calendar and is held in June. Naomi has been in the sport for 40 years as an athlete, a competitor, and now helping shape one of the most important events in women's rowing. We're talking about the history of women's rowing, where and why Henley Women's Regatta started and why it still matters, and what it takes to build opportunities in a sport that hasn't always made space for women. As the world of rowing evolves and becomes more equal, Henley Women's Regatta stands as a wonderful event that creates opportunities when no one else stepped up. So I guess a history lesson and brilliant opportunity to celebrate women's sport in such a great setting. And all the success that this event has brought all of us as women in rowing. And I know not all of us who listen are women's rowers, but you get the gist. Aside from this week's topic, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported and got us this far. I really cannot believe I have put out 50 plus hours of ramblings. So thank you very much to everyone who has listened, followed the podcast, commented, any of that. As usual, please follow, comment, leave a review on the pod, whatever you like. And without further ado, welcome to your weekly reminder that only dead fish go with the flow. This week, I am doing a recording in person, which is my favourite thing. I am sat down with chairwoman of Henley Women's Regatta and passionate rower, or passionate about rowing, Naomi Ashcroft. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Sophia.
Would you sort of like to give us a bit of an introduction? Because you are still rowing, or are you cycling now?
No, I'm still rowing. So in fact, this is my 40th year of rowing and competing. So I'm still racing at masters events.
Fantastic. So coming to a river near you. Well, this is quite special because it's actually our 50th episode. So to have you on to come and talk about Henley Women's Regatta, which is a female focused or female only event on the UK rowing circuit. And so it's actually very apt to be doing it on our 50th episode.
It's interesting. It is your 50th because one of our themes at this year's Henley Women's Regatta is to celebrate the 50 years of women rowing at the Olympics. They were first allowed to row at the Olympics in Montreal in 1976, but that was only over 1,000 meters. And they finally got to race internationally at 2,000 meters in 1988. So that's within my rowing career.
Would you like to sort of talk a little bit about yourself, everyone's worst bit, a little bit of name and explain who you are, what you do, and your sport?
Yeah, thanks, Sophia. So, as I said, I've been involved in rowing for the last 40 years. So I learnt to row at Southampton University, and that was my first experience of rowing. At school, I was a keen hockey player.
Oh, really?
Loved netball.
All sports. That's unusual because rowers are typically not very good at catching.
Yeah, yeah. So I was quite well coordinated. Although if you watch my rowing, you might not say that. But anyway, so I just loved, because I was quite shy, and I am quite an introvert. The opportunity to be part of a team was what drew me, and when I realised I wasn't too bad at these sports, then I became very keen. I was fortunate enough that I had two great PE teachers at senior school, a Mrs. Smith and a Miss Finley,
Fantastic.
And they gave me a lot of opportunities through sport, and that's kind of like stayed with me, to where I have, to what I've done to date, and what I'd like to do, for other oarswomen. The reason I got involved in rowing is through watching the Oxford and Cambridge boat race on grandstand on a Saturday afternoon.
I was going to say, who are you typically supporting, or no comment?
No comment. I think. In my current role, I think there would be no comment.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, so as a kid, I used to sit and watch grandstand, and when it wasn't the wrestling, and every April we had the university boat race. Obviously, it was featuring mainly the men on the university boat race course from Putney up to Chiswick, and I looked at it and I thought, wow, that looks like a great team sport. I'd like to have a go at that. So went to Southampton University to study civil engineering, made sure they had a boat club, which they did. And turned up at the boat club stand during the bun fight. So, and it hasn't stopped since then.
Oh, fantastic. What would you say are kind of the best parts of your journey with rowing?
Well, you talk about a journey, it was quite a journey. Because I was really fortunate in the people I had supporting me. I actually learnt to row with Gwyn Batten, who obviously went on to win Great Britain's first Olympics medal in Sydney with her sister Miriam, Gillian Lindsay and Dame Catherine Granger. We had a great coach, Pete Proudley, who was very much a family and coastal rowing man, and he coached a group of novices, was very good at bringing out the best in individuals to create, the true rowing team. He kind of like helped me along the way. He taught me to scull. I think that the best of it is just seeing that progress, all the stepping stones. You go from learning to row to then recognizing, others recognizing that there is potential and supporting you in achieving your goals, whatever they might be. I finally, after many years of trying, made the GB team in 2002. 1 year only.
Oh, maybe we've got something in common there.
But yeah, so went on.
Quick fly and die.
Yeah. Raced in the lightweight pair with Leonie Barron at one World Cup in Munich when we'd only been in the boat for about 2 weeks. And then that year, the World Championships, rowing championships, were in Seville towards the end of September. Won at the World Championships there. And then during the course of achieving that, which was it was a pinnacle. I wouldn't say it was the best race, because the best races are always the ones where there is, adversity that you've come through.
And a bit of chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. In achieving that, I kind of like had a number of wins at Henley Women's Regatta. And it's always, I think my best racing experience has always been at Henley Women's Regatta.
What I would say is there's definitely in your journey like an underlying theme of somebody gave me this experience or supported me at this time, whether or not it was the 2 female PE teachers or the coach at Southampton or whatever. Somebody was generous with their time. And now you're getting the opportunity to give back in a way where you're now the chairwoman of Henley Women's Regatta, which is predominantly volunteers.
Yes. Yeah.
Or all volunteers.
It is all volunteers. Yeah.
And I think that is such a prominent thing, especially when you're saying, I had these PE teachers that really invested in me and gave me opportunities. And that's set me up and my perspective for the rest of my life, that I want to be able to give that opportunity back. The message is obviously rowing, and rowing is great and whatever, but there's definitely from what you were saying, an underlying message.
You know, I'm very much of the opinion of if Henley Women's can give other, you know, others opportunity, whether it be female or male, you know, given the number of volunteers that we have, then I'm very much for that. And I think also, you know, when you look at grassroots rowing, you know, I'd really love, you know, more people and more kids to be given the opportunity to have a go at rowing. And all the benefits that I think teamwork, because I do think having played hockey, you know, a lot of sports to a reasonable level, you know, you can have a team of, you know, 11 hockey players on the pitch and they all excel in a different way. So they are individuals working towards the same goal. In a rowing boat, as you will know, Sophia, that, you know, you start off in a scratch crew, and you go out and you do your outings and you focus on one piece of technique at a time, and then suddenly it clicks and the boat's singing, and that's what I love.
The worst parts of rowing.
The worst parts of rowing. The worst parts of rowing are definitely, I don't like the cold weather.
No, that's a good one. That is very good. I don't like cold weather.
The cold weather before the days of pogies, and your hands used to get so cold, and then they start warming up, and
you get
that
chilblains.
You get that excruciating pain whilst they're warming up.
So horrible. Do you have a worst part of like the Henley Women's Regatta, or a pet peeve?
I don't think it's a pet peeve. And is there a worst part of Henley Women's Regatta? I think, you know, I think there's 12 of us on the exec committee at the moment, and we work all year round.
Yeah.
The focus is obviously the 3 days in June, but I think it's the acknowledgement for all those people on the exec committee and all the members of the team under those that are basically working to make it come to fruition. It's quite hard given that everybody is a volunteer, and you do have to, particularly with things, you know, evolving at the moment, because you've obviously mentioned about Henley Royal. You know,
we chatted off mic about Henley Royal and it's near gender parity.
Yeah. So we have to stay current. We have to continue to evolve. Besides actually making sure the event happens, there's all the, you know, our strategic planning in terms of what we're going to do going future. You know, in the future, like everything, it's all part of a team. So we as a team need to be agreeing what those steps are going forward. So the fact is, it's a full 12-month ongoing commitment.
It's a full-time job, basically.
It's another full-time job.
It's another full-time job.
You know, the best bit of Henley Women's Regatta is when you see all the excited oars women turn up. You know, the first official thing that happens each regatta is the international reception for the overseas crews. So they're all turning up very smart in their blazers, and they're just excited to be in Henley.
Yeah.
So
the best part is surely pulling it off, or like being in the regatta on like the Saturday where the first day's happened, everything's gone really well. You're into the second day and you're just sort of absorbing it, and you've got another day to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Following, I think that would, if it was me on a organising committee, I think that's where I would sort of put my happy happy moment.
Yeah. Our aim is so that everything is ready and waiting to go for those 3 days. But I know the team is flexible enough that if things do arise, which inevitably they do happen, that you know, we've got a strong team to manage that and keep everything moving.
Do you have a sporting ick? This could be related to rowing, or it could be related to running the regatta?
Probably related to rowing, and people will laugh when I say this because I don't like being washed down. I don't like being washed down in a training session. So
Yeah.
in a race, that's different. You know, I have no issue if somebody wants to give me dirty water. They can give me dirty water, but not in a training session. when the rest of the river is glass and then somebody wants to sit in front of me.
It's like, will you bugger off?
Exactly.
Especially if you train out of Upper Thames.
Upper Thames Rowing Club, yeah.
But on the Henley stretch, and it is a wide stretch. There's
Yeah.
plenty of room,
Yeah.
especially if it's two singles. That feels really personal.
Yeah. But so that is a bit of a sporting ick.
So our Dying on the Hill this week is creating a female-focused event, the setup of Henley Women's, its importance, its history, and the success that is created. So with that rather lengthy title, would you like to dive into our Dying on the Hill?
Yeah. So Henley Women's Regatta was first established in 1988. That was the first run of the regatta. It took the vision of a group of 12 individuals headed up by Rosie McLaughlin to get it off the ground with the support of Henley Royal Regatta stewards at the time and Tom Copus, who Copus Partnership, who own the land that which we currently run the regatta from. There has been a regatta in Henley since 1839. It became a royal regatta in 1851. Up until during the 1800s and the 1920s, up until the 1920s, women did row, and they didn't really race. They were judged on technique.
Mm-hmm. But like dressage.
It was a bit like dressage.
Yeah.
Yeah. And funny enough, us women are as competitive as men. I think end of 1970s, beginning of 1980s, Henley Royal introduced some invitation events, which was the Cots Four and the women's double. But because the international racing distance for women was still 1,000 metres
Okay.
at that time, they had to basically set up a start for those races
Halfway down the course
near Forley.
Mm-hmm.
So they ran them in the luncheon interval or the tea interval. So they weren't really much of of a success, really, because everybody went off and had lunch. And they limited the entry to 2 British crews and 2 overseas crews. So very limited opportunity. Rosie and her partner Astrid Ayling won the doubles event. I think it was 1981, might be 1982. And then Rosie went on and became national rowing coach and recognised the need for a women's event on the Henley stretch. They got a group of individuals together with the aim of putting on that event. The actual organisation of the first event didn't actually start until 1987, so it was all done quite quickly. It was done with the support of Henley stewards, like I said, and Tom Copus. And the first event was actually run over the Henley Royal distance, but it started at the finish.
Oh, and they did it backwards.
And it finished down at the island.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And then since then it's evolved. We had over 500 crews enter last year. Regularly, we get over 2,000 competitors with racing over 3 days. And when it started, the racing was over a single day. So it's grown,
quite considerably
since then. And it is, as Dame Catherine Granger says, it's a gem in the racing calendar. It has given women opportunities to go on. Still provides a pathway. When you look at the GB Women's Olympic team that was in Paris in 2024, 77% of them had won at
Henley
Women's in their in their career. And I think that kind of like does demonstrate the opportunity that Henley Women's provides. Kind of like build that racing opportunity and a stepping stone to go on and race for your country. And not everybody wants to do that, but wherever you are in your rowing journey, there is the opportunity to race on the Henley stretch.
And I was saying sort of earlier, in my early rowing career, you weren't judged, but there was if you'd not won Henley, then maybe you weren't like a serious rower. And up until 2021, before the new events at Henley Royal came in, I remember being very frustrated because I was like, well, I've won Henley Women's. And that's not what we're talking about. But there wasn't actually, this used to talk about the invitational events in the
early 1980s.
In the early 1980s. And then when I was doing it in like 2016, fast forward a bit, there still was only really like the remnant, which had 8 spaces. So if you qualified, you were doing really well. I remember my now husband at the time, sitting him down and being like, okay, you're saying I've not won a red box or whatever, but actually it probably wasn't him. It was probably someone else I sat down, but it was definitely something I discussed at length with him. I was like, you've won in the temple. There is no temple equivalent for me to win. There is only the reminum, which is the equivalent of the grand, which you're not doing. This is going to be a very heavy rowing jargon episode, I think. And, it is really special to be able to say, I've won Henley Women's, I've got 3 boxes, I've won the championship 8 twice and the women's championship pair, and I did those races with quite a few of the Paris Olympians. Before the gender parity stuff started to come through thick and fast at Henley Royal, this was the only way of sort of measuring yourself nationally against the rest of the women in the UK. And obviously now we have people coming in from abroad as well, but this was it, and this is still a great event. When we talk about the importance of it, Henley Women's and its future, what sort of things have we got in the pot?
I think the key thing has always been to provide a fantastic regatta for all our competitors. So but it's all about the athlete. The focus is the athlete experience. So we need to be putting on events where they're going to get good competition. I keep mentioning the word pathway, but we need to continue to kind of offer events that lead to a pathway. More events, more female events at the Royal will only generate more interest in women's crews entering Henley Women's, because they may see it as a warm-up event, which is fine, but it offers opportunity for far more women than Henley Royal does. Our challenge at Henley Women's Regatta is the fact that we run off a greenfield site, and at the moment we have 3 days to fit in a competition for which there is increasing demand. That is the challenge when the event is run entirely by volunteers. When you talk to people about Henley Women's, it's all about the atmosphere, that it's, whilst you can get great competition on the water, it's a very supportive and friendly environment. I think we really want to be able to maintain, that atmosphere that's really important for people, that you are close to the racing, and your friends and family are there supporting you. We need to be staying in touch with what the athletes are seeking, and that to me is a good and fair competition.
If people are listening to this and they want to help in any way with the running of this event, how can people help and get involved?
Do have a look at the website. There's you can click on the volunteering tab and send us an email, and we'll get in touch. The regatta, we have upwards of over 100 volunteers.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many volunteers do you have?
Yeah, and I think we've worked it out. It's over the three days. It's kind of like over 600 hours of shifts, basically. The more we can spread the load,
The more the merrier.
the more the merrier. Set up on the Monday. By the following Monday, all the infrastructure has come down, almost as if it never happened, apart from,
you're absolutely exhausted and your feet are swollen and you're covered in dust.
Yeah. There is that. We are exhausted, but there's the opportunity and the memories that have been made for all our competitors.
So if we're looking at the future of Henley Women's, what are we aiming for? The perfect future for Henley Women?
A lot of
a lot of money. Okay, we can take that, or we can leave it in. No more notes.
The future of Henley Women's is very much dependent on our, financial sustainability. In a nutshell.
Not beating around the bush.
Yeah, because we have to, remain, to be attractive to our competitors. We do need to think about our entry fees every year. And the way we calculate those is literally just look at the costs it takes to run the minimum of the regatta.
Mm-hmm.
It costs around about 140k to run. And our entry fees, in the last couple of years have raised about 90,000.
Okay.
And we're trying not to put up our entry fees, but the trouble is, state of the world these days, everything is costing more and more. And as mentioned previously, we are setting up a greenfield site. We have no assets and we have no permanent infrastructure. Everything comes in and is built from scratch. To find generous sponsors every year, we are fortunate to have people who do make donations each year, which is very welcome. For a team of volunteers, it puts a lot of pressure on them, to find the deficit that we have each year. So if anybody would like to support us in that way, that would be, and give, make sure we remain sustainable, and Henley Women's continues into the future, then we'd love to hear from them.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Please get in touch. Do you have a favourite Henley Women's moment?
A favourite Henley Women's moment?
Or something that has really stuck with you?
Well, there's two things. So
that's okay. You can have more than one.
Yeah. Okay. So through racing, I'm trying to think. So I've won it 11 times.
Ooh.
Yeah. And they're, as you know, they're all.
You're the chairman now, so is that a little bit suspicious? Was that before or after?
Well, the reason
chairwoman.
I think the reason they asked me to take on the chair role is
to get her out of the competition,
to stop me racing.
Somebody give her a job.
Yeah. But I did become head of ceremonies from about 2008 until 2022. So I was in charge of the medals and trophies. I think that was another reason that they gave me that job, because I was familiar with with the medals. So I think they're all special, but I think probably winning the elite lightweight single in 2002 was a pinnacle. I'd never really proven that I could go fast in my single, and again it was thanks to all the coaches that helped me achieve that. It was really something had to focus both psychologically as well as physically in order to be able to do that. Family were there, all my friends were there, and it was just, everything sort of, how everything comes together.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
few and far between those moments, but when it does, it's magic.
And if, and 2002 was the year that I went on and raced at the World Championships. But if the season had ended with Henley Women's, that would have been equally as good. So that was the pinnacle for me. And I think the best, whilst I've been chair, you appreciate all the work that goes in into running the event. I remember that my first regatta in this role was 2024, and there was a queue getting into the car park. And I spoke to a few people waiting in the queue, and they were obviously all keen to get parked and racing. I bumped into somebody who'd been in, I think it was Lee Rowing Club development for, she'd been stuck in the queue getting into the car park. She'd just missed out qualifying for the side-by-side racing, but she told me that she'd had a great day. And that is, and she was coming back next year.
Oh, bless her.
With that, goal to qualify for the side-by-side racing. So that just to me demonstrated how much, that the event, we've got to continue to offer that event to serve, the rowing
like
community.
Even though you've queued for maybe 2 hours and been on the water for maybe 45 minutes, it's still worth it.
Yeah, they weren't queuing for 2 hours, thankfully.
Do you have a best fuck up that you'd be happy to share with the podcast?
I'm not going to share the fuck up that happened whilst I've been chair of Henley Women's.
No, that's fair enough.
It was quite spectacular, but that's not for the general audience. But this goes back to when I was racing lightweight, and those that have raced lightweight historically now will understand this. But I remember racing at the early Ghent Regatta, beginning of May.
For lightweights, there's a multitude of spinning plates going on. Yeah. It's not just rock up and back on. There is lots of bits going on.
Yeah. So I was with a group of well, we were doing a lightweight quad at the time, and we'd gone out onto the water to race an event ahead of the lightweight quad, having weighed ourselves to check we were all on target. We then went out to race a different event. We came back and discovered that the organisers had moved the weighing scales into a different room.
Okay.
And in moving them, the scales had recalibrated themselves, so we'd all gained an extra kilogram.
Oh no.
So we then had to start the process of losing some more weight, which, don't do this now, but, dressing up in waterproofs, doing some running and sweating down. And unfortunately, we had to wait for the heaviest person to get below 59 kilograms before we could rehydrate.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because I don't know if you've thought of this, but because you'd raced an event before and none of you had then changed your lycras, so you're all weighing in wet, heavy lycras.
Oh, no.
You had fresh lycras.
We had our special
light ones.
Yeah, hardly anything lycra. And even that was too heavy. But yeah, that will live in all our memories for a long time.
Oh, no. It always would sort of see, lightweights getting ready for their racing and just think, it's a special kind of like brain process, I think.
Yeah.
It's a special, you got something special going on there.
You also have to be the right size to do it. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah. These are our final sort of 2 questions. A Naomi mantra or words that you live by or come back to all the time?
Well, it wouldn't be surprised, but it's the power of teamwork is greater than some of the individual parts.
I think that's very apt for a rowing episode.
Yeah, that is. And anything you do as a team, it's always more fun.
I couldn't agree more. Of all the times that I've been lucky enough to be part of all these big rowing teams, Bucks Regatta is on this weekend, or it's just sort of finishing up now.
Yeah.
Robin actually mentioned it in her episode last week, how special it was to be at that regatta where you're just like, everyone's part of their university team.
Yeah.
Everyone's there having a giggle. I've seen all like the memes going up on social media and the teamwork that is required to do that regatta. Like Robin was saying that she would race, 8 different events over that 3 days, and somebody was rowing her single down for her while she was racing up, and then there was a car ready to take her down. And
Yeah.
friend of mine, Franny, who's been on the episode, is currently doing something similar. She's racing for Reading this weekend.
Yeah.
It is the power of teamwork. Well, power of teamwork that lets individuals shine as well.
Yeah.
Like we are nothing without
Yeah.
our teams. My final question is: do you have a soundtrack for the week?
I do, and I had to think about this because I'm not great into my music, but I have selected Leanne Womack's "I Hope You Dance,"
Oh, very good.
which is kind of like it's kind of like all about embracing life despite and taking on the challenges, but also appreciating the world in which we live.
If Henley Women's had a soundtrack, what do you think Henley Women's soundtrack would be? Tough question. But if it was a song, does anything spring to mind?
How about Tina Turner and Simply the Best?
Oh yeah, that's good. Or I was thinking, was it Gotta Get Through This?
No.
Maybe for the planning part. You gotta get through this. Gotta get through this. That's Tasha Bedingfield's brother that wrote that. I found out recently. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The one that did Unwritten, all of that. Her brother did Gotta Get Through This. I think. I'll have to I'll have to fact check that. That is all of the podcast. If anybody wants to find the Regatta or you or anything online, where can they find you?
You can go to the website, www.awr.org.uk.
Fab. Well, thank you very, very much for your time, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
It's been a pleasure, and it's great to be part of the 50th episode.
Yeah, the 50th episode. So exciting. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, as I said earlier, please follow, like, subscribe, all of those lovely things. If you want to see more of the podcast, you can follow it on Instagram at Only Dead Fish Podcast. It's got all sorts of bits and bobs on there. And you can message us or me. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode and chat next week. Bye-bye.